Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 Wii Ware review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a DarkLord, or FFCC ML88D. Not to be confused with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a King, even though it is kind of like a pseudo-sequel. Basically though, if you've never played it before, it's, some people are saying it's an RPG, some people are saying it's a tower defense. I think it's a mix. I'll just have to show it off though, really. Right then, at the start you simply get new game and purchase add-on content, and then you also get load game once you've got some data. I've went onto a file here where I've got a little bit of data because I don't want to spoil too much about it as per usual, but I've also got quite a bit of the content. I'm not supposed to have a lot of the content because they're not supposed to be releasing it until months from now, but they've released it all on the first night, and I don't know if it's a mistake or if it's just simply a thing they're saying, you've got it on the first night, congratulations, have access to it. But there's tons of the stuff, and it's unfortunately one of them things where it does mean that the game costs a gross amount of money. It really is. I mean, it's over like 6,000 points pretty much for the entire game, so it looks cheap at first when you get it for 1,000, but it's one of them that basically you'll just have to watch yourself, like tally it all up and all that, and see after the original 1,000 to see whether or not you actually think it's worth the money. Personally, I think it is worth the money because it's my type of game, but I know not everyone's going to feel that way. Anyway though, this is what I mean basically by the fact that it's kind of like a tower defense RPG. The whole point is you are a Dark Lord and you're trying to, well, conquer the world, like this, that and the other, get all the magic, the miasma, stuff like that. So heroes come to stop you. So you have a tower with nothing there. And then the whole point is you have to build these floors, of which I've just got 4 types here: offensive, defensive, special and support. And they all have different things, unique things about them. Obviously offensive's offensive, defensive, etc. So you build them, and you can upgrade how many floors you can actually have in your tower. You have to buy that with karma. I know I'm probably going a mile a minute here and confusing everyone, so I swear down I will get to all these things. But basically, once you've built a floor, which uses your NP, which is the blue crystals to the top right, and it tells you how many it's required to actually do things, then you can actually start putting monsters in, so that the heroes, when they come, will have to fight monsters instead of just fighting the magic thing at the end of the room, well, the end of the floor. So you can get loads of different types here. Obviously you can get melee, you can get ranged, again, just stuff like that. This is just a few of the stuff that I've got here. And that's, this is also some of the downloadable content I'm showing off as well. I thought, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, show off the downloadable floors, monsters, etc. So once you've finished fannying around building this, that and the other, then the heroes even start coming in. Too used to fighting monsters on games. So the heroes start coming in, and they climb up, and they have to fight these things I've done. Now you can only have 1 hero per floor, so if there's a hero already fighting on a floor, then they'll just leapfrog up to the next one when more heroes come in. And you can actually push the A button to send more enemies in at a convenient time. You can't just bash it and send them all in at once, unfortunately, because that's something I'd quite like to do, going back to the first level with loads of powers and do that, but you can't. You have to at least wait a little bit to do that. And the leapfrog up, they fight the next floor, etc. And the whole point is you have to kill all the heroes before they get to the very top floor, that floor there. If they get there, one of them, doesn't matter how many get there, if it's 1 or anything, that's it, game over, you lose. So you've basically got to manage your floors and keep putting creatures on. Your creatures will heal in between enemies not being on their floor. And basically when the enemies are there, they've got a little clock which has just appeared above their level and health and everything, and that clock shows how long they're going to stay to fight, because they don't just fight until things die. Eventually they'll get sick and go up anyway. So if you get like a hero or something coming along who's really powerful and your units are weak, then theoretically they could go up like 15 floors, get to the top, and that's it, you're screwed. So anyway, I said I'd mention karma, so before I get too far ahead of myself, this is the karma. Basically when you win, when you've defeated the last enemy, hero, whatever you want to call them, it tells you your defeat bonus, your reward, and therefore your total. And you use that karma on the map screen to basically upgrade, as I say, how many towers you can have, like how many floors you can have, or upgrade your creatures, because your creatures can level up, but you have to not only upgrade them, you then have to level them up. So basically you push to, you can go to upgrade, and then you can choose the creature that you want. It tells you how much it's going to cost to upgrade to the next level. So I can upgrade him, so yes, upgrade him to level 2, but it's not as simple as that. When I place them, he's not automatically level 2. I have to place him, then I have to level him up, which costs more MP. So anyway, I mentioned about the heroes and that. Heroes are basically bosses, if you will. So this here is pretty much the first boss thing that you get, because you actually fight Chime, who was from FFCC MLAK, and instead of coming along and doing attributes from that, where for example you might have expected it to come along, for example, and just like inspire other people, and hell, maybe even inspire them to build defences of their own, it's actually, she comes along and kicks the crap out of you. So I'll just basically cut to where I can at least show off, because to be fair, it does take a little while to get up to her. But before I cut, the other things you can do, you can actually use items. And I'll have to show them off when she's there, but you can use items that will give you more NP, or you can use items that, like spells like Fire and Shockwave and that will actually hurt the enemies on the screen. So they're really cool, really useful. Well, I did say I'd show off a hero, although to be fair, this is actually a heroine, but whatever. And here she is. So she's level 10, much higher than any of my creatures, which is again why they're like bosses, because they're the type of thing that you'd expect to be a challenge, and to be fair, they are a challenge. I did fail the first time I versed her. So it's just one of them things, or you have to basically keep watching, you have to like replace your creatures if they get killed, because you can't sell them, you can't sell floors or anything, you just have to keep building floors if you need more floors, and if creatures die you have to replace them. As I say, you can also level up creatures though. So for example, I've got an ogre up here, the one that I've shown about leveling up, so I'll just go over him. It's going to cost us 15 NP, there we go though, he's now level 2, he'll take less damage, he'll attack more, he'll just be overall better. As I mentioned though, there are spells which are the items, so I'll just use one here. I'll use Fire, because everyone should know what Fire is. You can also get things like Cure, so you can heal your monsters, and you can actually build monsters that will heal your other monsters, so that's really cool. So that's Fire, it was just going through all the floors basically, because it'll attack creatures that are there, well, people that are there to be fair. I keep mixing up these words. I'm not used to playing as a bad guy on, like, controlling monsters. I'm used to playing as bad guys on games like Infamous. But there's pretty much nothing else left to say really, there's only the basics. Graphically, it looks fantastic. Musically, I think it sounds fantastic, so I will let you listen to a bit before I sign off. One thing I want to quickly mention, because people are probably going to notice it, because to be fair, my little brother pointed it out, those little ghost things there don't half look like Pikmin to me. But it's one of those things that the game, basically, if you like this sort of game, there's a lot there, but you are going to have to pay to get the most out of it, because I wasn't enjoying the game much myself until I got the content, and the content, yeah, it makes it easier, but it's one of those things that without it, it can be a little boring and take a little while to get into it. But it only makes it easier at the start, near the end, like when things get harder and all that, then it's not exactly going to make it all that much easier, because you're not using super creatures at a stupid stage, you're using super creatures at the appropriate stage. So, that's everything there is to say about the game. Here's some music. So there we go then, that's been the review. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least found it helpful. You might have noticed I didn't score the game. Well, that's because it's a matter of personal opinion, and yours may very well differ from my own. I'm just here to show you a bit about the game. If you like it or not, well, that's up to you. If you don't like it, or you do like it, feel free to comment. Also, if I haven't answered any of your questions that you may have had, I might have forgot something, or it might just be something obscure. Again, feel free to comment, ask, always willing to help out. Otherwise, if you don't like commenting on YouTube, head over to www.vc-forums.com, where you can chat with me and a bunch of other lads who love the VC, the Wii Ware, and hell, even a lot of other systems. We cater to pretty much everything. You can just go there, have a chat about a game, ask about some games, etc. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.